Have you ever gone through something that completely changed how you see the world? Something deep, powerful, almost beyond words. Maybe it was a spiritual awakening, a moment of realization that shattered old beliefs. You felt free, expanded, connected to something bigger than yourself. But now something feels off. You don't feel inspired anymore. Your energy is gone. You're not excited about anything. Motivation? It vanished. You're not alone. This happens to a lot of people after awakening, and it's not because something went wrong. In fact, it's part of the process. Carl Jung, a Swiss psychologist and deep thinker, studied the inner world like few others. He believed awakening isn't just a beautiful experience, it's a major shift in the structure of the self. And when your inner world changes, your outer world can feel meaningless. All the goals you once chased, they feel fake. Your career, your routine, even your relationships, they might not make sense anymore. This loss of motivation isn't failure. It's the result of shedding an old identity. The part of you that was chasing things out of fear, pressure, or ego, it's dissolving. This can be scary. It can feel like depression, like you've lost your purpose. But Carl Jung would say, this is the beginning of real transformation. In this video, we'll explore why this happens after awakening, why your motivation disappears, and how to find a new kind of purpose not from the ego, but from your deeper self. If you're here, it means you've already awakened. Now, let's understand what comes next. After a spiritual awakening, you might expect life to suddenly feel amazing, like everything will fall into place. But for many, the opposite happens. Instead of peace, you feel emptiness. Instead of energy, you feel numb. You start asking yourself, why do I feel worse after waking up? Carl Jung understood this well. He wrote about a phase of awakening where the ego loses its grip. You've stepped out of the illusion, but now you're standing in the unknown. Your old identity, the version of you built on roles, achievements, and goals, starts to fade. But your new self hasn't fully formed yet. This in-between space is what Jung might call the void. You don't want the same things anymore, but you don't yet know what you do want. You're no longer asleep, but you're not fully awake either. It's uncomfortable. You might feel like you're wasting time, losing your edge, or falling behind. But this isn't failure. It's an important part of your evolution. Just like the body needs rest after a major injury, the soul needs stillness after a major awakening. This is the stage where real integration begins. Not chasing, but being. Not striving, but listening. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're between stories, shedding the old one and waiting for the new one to unfold. Before awakening, most of us live through the ego. It gives us a sense of control of who we are, what we want, and where we're going. But after awakening, that structure starts to fall apart. Suddenly, your ego no longer feels solid. You start to question everything you built your identity around. Carl Jung described the ego as just one part of the psyche. It's not the whole self, it's the mask, the actor on stage. And eventually that mask must come off. When the ego begins to die, it can feel terrifying, because the ego was what gave you ambition, direction, and even your sense of value. Without it, who are you? This is why motivation fades. You're not lazy. You're grieving. The version of you that once pushed through life with effort is disappearing. This moment is sacred. In Jungian psychology, it's the beginning of individuation, a process where the true self begins to emerge from the shadow of the ego. Jung said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. But when you awaken, you have to face it. It's not about killing the ego. It's about putting it in its proper place, not as the master, but as the servant of your deeper truth. When ego dies, the soul starts to speak. But at first it whispers, and to hear it, you have to get quiet and trust the silence. Before your awakening, your motivation was clear. Work harder, get ahead, be someone. Success meant validation, achievement meant worth. But after awakening, that fire burns out. Those goals feel pointless. You wonder why you don't care anymore. Carl Jung would say, you didn't lose motivation, you outgrew it. You're no longer running on the fuel of ego. You're not chasing status, approval, or even success. Because deep down, you know none of that is truly you. Motivation used to come from the outside. Deadlines, praise, competition, fear of failure. But after awakening, the outside world loses its grip. You've unplugged from the matrix. This is what Jung called a withdrawal of projections. You're no longer projecting meaning onto things that aren't really meaningful, and that leaves an empty space for now. It's uncomfortable because we've been trained to associate motivation with purpose, and without motivation, it can feel like we're floating. But Jung believed this floating is actually a return to your inner compass. You're no longer driven, you're being called. You're shifting from ambition to alignment, from control to surrender. And this shift, while quiet, is where true motivation is reborn. It's easy to panic when the numbness sets in. You might think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I feel anything? But this isn't a problem. It's part of the healing. Carl Jung understood this as the Negrado stage, an ancient alchemical term that means the blackening, a time of darkness, stillness, and ego death. In this stage, your old self has crumbled, but the new self hasn't fully emerged. You're suspended in between who you were and who you're becoming. It feels empty, because your usual emotions are offline. Your mind isn't reacting the way it used to. You're not excited, but you're not panicking either. You're in the void. Jung believed this stage was essential. Without it, true transformation can't begin. Just like winter before spring or night before dawn. The numbness isn't your soul giving up. It's your soul taking a breath, resting, recovering from the storm of ego collapse. You may feel like doing nothing, not because you're lazy, but because your inner system is recalibrating. Let it. Jung wrote, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. What feels like silence is actually realignment. This numbness is not the end. It's the cocoon. Stay with it. Because on the other side of this stillness, something deeper is waiting to emerge. Eventually, something begins to shift. It's subtle, a quiet desire to move, to create, to live, but from a different place. This is not the old ambition coming back. It's not about proving yourself. It's not about chasing success. This is true will, your soul's quiet calling. Carl Jung believed that when we align with the self, not the ego, not the mask, a deeper motivation rises naturally. You don't force it, it finds you. You no longer act from fear, you act from truth. And the strange thing is, this kind of will is stronger than anything you've ever known. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters, even if no one notices, even if it's just one small step each day. This is what Jung called individuation, the path of becoming your most authentic self. Not copied, not conditioned, but whole. And when you walk this path, motivation returns, but not as a fire that burns you out, as a light that guides you inward. You don't need to be productive all the time. You just need to be real. And when your life responds, so if you've lost motivation after awakening, don't fight it. Let the old burn away. Because what rises from the ashes is you. Spiritual awakening is not the end. It's the beginning of a deeper kind of life. But for that awakening to truly matter, it must be lived. Carl Jung didn't just study the soul in isolation. He believed that real transformation happens when we bring the inner journey back into the outer world. Integration means taking your insights and grounding them in daily life. Not escaping the world, but showing up in it, more awake than ever. You may still feel numb sometimes, still feel lost, but now, you don't panic, you trust. You've learned to be with yourself. Motivation returns quietly, like a stream flowing beneath the surface. It doesn't shout, it whispers, "This matters, do this." You're no longer chasing life, you're moving with it. And that movement, even if slow, is sacred. Jung believed in wholeness. And wholeness includes the dark and the light, the stillness and the action, the numbness and the joy. So don't rush to feel motivated again. Let yourself live at your soul's pace. Let each step be slow, real, and honest. You haven't lost your drive. You found something deeper, a quiet, rooted will. To live in truth, one breath, one moment, one step at a time. If you're in this space right now, feeling lost, unmotivated, or numb, know this: you are not broken, you are becoming. Carl Jung taught that the path of awakening isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you really are, beneath the noise, the roles, the masks. So be kind to yourself. Let the old goals fall away. Let the silence teach you. Let life reshape you, naturally, patiently, truthfully. If this message resonated with you, take a breath. Maybe share it with someone who needs it too. And if you'd like more content like this, rooted in Jung, soul, and self-discovery, subscribe and stay connected.